Today we're going to be taking a look at the four, in my opinion, the best gaming headsets that are on the market at the moment, between £250 to £300. Right now on Amazon, the Astros are reduced from £285, which is their normal price, down to £229. That's what I paid for it a couple of weeks ago when they were on sale. The Odyssey Maxwells, they're not on Amazon at the moment, or they're not in stock, but I did find them on Amazon for £299 for the PlayStation version, and I think it was £275 for the Xbox version, which really is the better one to get, because like the Nova Pro Wireless and the Turtle Beach, if you buy the Xbox version, it will also work on PlayStation. The Steelseries Nova Pro Wireless are £285 at the moment on Amazon, but I see them fluctuate. The price drops quite often to around the 250 mark. Sometimes it'll go up a bit, so it's one to watch the price for. The Turtle Beach Stealth Pros are £243 at the moment on Amazon. So let's talk about battery life first. The Maxwells are good for 80 hours, and you do get around 80 hours. I've tested it, and it does last a long time. It's one of those headsets where you reach a point where after a couple of weeks you forget that you have to charge it at all, and then you get this little bleep to tell you that you're down to 10%. You think, oh yeah, I've got to have to charge this. The Astro A50s, they have their dock, and they get 24 hours on a charge, which isn't class leading by any means, but every time I take them off, I just drop them on the dock, and they're always charged and ready to go. So I've not had any issues with battery life. And they charge really quick as well. They're one of the quickest charging out of all these. The Arctis Nova Pro Wireless, they have their signature dock, which has a second battery in, so you can hot swap the batteries out. They're rated for 24 hours per battery, and that's exactly what I was getting when I tested both batteries, and yeah, they were accurate in what they claim. The Turtle Beach Stealth Pros, they've got much less battery life than the others, but they're still hot swappable, like the Steelseries. They're only rated for 12 hours, and I've had them for quite a while now, and I'd say I get around 11 hours, between 11 and 11 and a half hours per battery. So not that great, but they are hot swappable, so you never get caught short with them. Now I need to use my cheat sheet to give you the weight. So I'm using Wicked cushions on all of these. I'm using the Freeze pads on 3 of them, and then the Stealth Z Wicked cushions pads on the Astro A50s. So with these ear pads on, they are 378 grams for the A50s. The Nova Pros are 424 grams. The Maxwells are 615 grams. Those Wicked cushions add a lot of weight to that because they are really big and it's already a heavy headset. And then the Stealth Pros are 474 grams. Compatibility, if you buy the Xbox version of the Maxwells, the Nova Pros and the Stealth Pro, the Xbox versions will work on PlayStation as well. And then the Astro A50 Gen 5s work on everything. There's only one version and it works on everything. You can get the A50X, but that's somewhere around £100 more just to have HDMIs on the back. And for me, that just isn't worth it. It's exactly the same headset otherwise, and they both work on all consoles. So for noise cancellation, only the Nova Pro Wireless and the Stealth Pros have noise cancellation. Both of them, it works extremely well. I always test my aircon because it's right by my rig and it's really loud, so that's always the best test for me. And the Hoover as well, you put the Hoover on, and both of them I'd say perform sort of equally well. With the stock pads on the Stealth Pros, I'd say they've got a slight edge over the Steelseries because they create such a good seal. They can really get rid of a lot of background noise. So yeah, both these headsets really good for ANC. All the headsets have Bluetooth. The only sort of negatives are the Maxwells haven't got simultaneous Bluetooth, so you can't listen to music from your phone and be playing a game on the dongle, which is a bit of a shame because it is a nice feature to have. The other three, they are all simultaneous Bluetooth and 2.4. The only one negative for the Bluetooth on the Astro A50s, and it's a fairly big one, is that you're not Bluetoothing yourself to the headset. So if you want to go and take your dog for a walk or just go outside, if you're not close to the base station, you'll lose the Bluetooth connection. I'm not sure why they did that. The other three are to the headset, so you can take your dog for a walk, go out and do whatever, and your phone will always be connected to it. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame that it's to the base station, but you can, if you're wandering around the house and you're wearing the headset, you can just leave your phone next to the base station, and that way you're fine. You just can't go out and wander around. On to drivers. So the Stealth Pros have got their 50mm nano clear drivers, I believe they're called, and they've got a really big impact. It does get loud, and we'll talk about sound for all these later, but yeah, they do sound good. The only thing is, when you're using the stock pads, it's not so much of a thing with the Wicked Freeze cushions. When you press that button and you want to try and change the game to chat mix, you do hear a little crinkling sound, and what that is, it's the seal making the driver flex in and out. So just, I've not managed to damage them. I don't know if anyone has, but so it's a little unconcerting when you press that button. You just hear this little crinkle. So just be careful. Don't whack the headphones when you got them on. Steelseries are using their 40mm dynamic drivers, and they're great for detail and doesn't get massively loud. I'd say the Turtle Beaches are louder, but it still gets more than loud enough for me. The A50s have got their amazing 40mm graphene drivers, and they really are amazing. I'm very surprised how good they sound. It blew me away. And then you got the Maxwells with their 90mm planar magnetic drivers, which are amazing. Everything that you've heard about how good those drivers sound is absolutely true. Now, another feature that's really important to me, and these all have it, is to be able to adjust the game chat mix, so that when I'm streaming and racing and talking to people on Discord, I can change that volume, nice and quick, because quite often it's like, in a game you could be in the heat of a battle, or when I'm racing, I quite often need to adjust the game to chat mix. The Maxwell's game to chat mix is really nice and easy to adjust. It's just a second wheel. There's a wheel at the top, and then there's one underneath it. And you don't need to press it in and adjust it or anything. You just adjust this bottom one, that's your game to chat mix. If you press it, then you're able to adjust the side tone, and the voice, the female voice that comes through, tells you side tone, so you know what you're adjusting. So yeah, game to chat mix, nice and easy to adjust on the Maxwells. Let's go to the Turtle Beaches now. Although they got game to chat mix on this, it's really awkward to use. So you've got this nice wheel that's actually nice and smooth for adjusting the volume, and then you got this loud button. And to adjust the game to chat mix, you have to hold that in for 2 or 3 seconds, and then you adjust the wheel. And it's such a slow, delayed sort of action. And then you have to wait a couple of seconds then for it to bleep again, and then it becomes the volume wheel again. It's a very slow process, so if you need to quickly adjust game to chat mix, this is kind of annoying. And also the button, because that's so loud and these create a really good seal, your ear has a bit of a, you get like a thump in your ear because it's quite a loud button. But if you don't use the game to chat mix often, that might not bother you. So the Steelseries do it well. you have their base station, and you can see the volume on the station, and then you press the volume wheel once, and then you'll see on the display it'll change to the games chat mix, and then you can roll the wheel then and adjust it, and you can see how far you're adjusting the mix. So yeah, works really well on that. My favourite one is again the A50s, because their game to chat mix, it's just on the right ear cup, forward and back click, that's it. Click forward to increase the gain volume, click back to increase the sound of, you know, your Discord. So really impressed with that, super easy to adjust. On to comfort. Now let's start with the Stealth Pros. They're a very comfy headset, and they got full swivel, and the stock pads are really plush, and so are these wicked cushions. Clamping force is, I'd say, medium to firm. When you first put them on, you might think, that's, if you're used to something really light, you're going to notice this when you put these on. But because the ear cups are so plush, it's still comfortable. And after you've worn it for, had it for a few days, it'll just feel normal. It won't feel that firm, but yeah, it's firmer than all the rest. Steelseries, now, they've always made some of the most comfortable headsets, and light as well. And these are the same. These are slightly firmer than, say, the Arctis Nova 7s. I've got the 7Ps there. All the other Steelseries headsets have been slightly lighter clamp force than this, but this is not firm at all. It's just a little bit firmer, presumably just so that they can create a good seal for the active noise cancellation to work, as good as it can. So yeah, really typical Steelseries comfort. You got the your adjustable headband there, and then you've got the telescopic adjustment on each side. And putting them on, if you just put them on and let go, what I've got now is I've got a gap behind both my ears, because the swivel on this, it's a little bit creaky. You can hear just a slight, I don't know if you can hear that, but they're slightly stiff and creaky. So when you put these on, you got to tilt them forward like that, and then just give it a bit of a wiggle, and you create a seal. The Maxwell's, amazingly comfortable, very light clamp force, very heavy, and I can't deny the weight of them. And with the freeze pads on, it adds a fair bit extra weight on top of that. But the clamping force is just the right amount, and the hinges, I noticed on these, when I first got these, one of the hinges, I think it was the right one, had a bit of a creak to it, and it was a little bit, it felt like it was binding, but it's completely gone now, and they swivel lovely and smooth, and it's just instant comfort, loads of room inside the pads. Yeah, amazing comfort, but heavy. If you're like playing on a VR and you want to use these, I mean, this won't fit over any of my VR headsets, but if you've got a headset that you can use over ears with, and you're moving about a lot, you're going to notice that weight, and they're going to wiggle, because they're not a firm clamp force. They're going to wiggle on your head. I notice it while I'm walking, if I take the dog for a walk, and I'm wearing them because I listen to music on them all the time, and as you're walking you can feel them sort of wriggling. The real surprise for me was the Astro A50s, because I've got the Gen 2s and 3s there, and they're so firm. You put them on, and I can't wear them for that long before I have to take them off. They really were too firm. But what they've done now, they've really refined the comfort. And again, you got full swivel, and just weight wise, they just feels like you're wearing almost nothing. They're really good, and yeah, just the clamp force is so light. It's just right for the headset. The heavier the headset, the more clamp force you need to stop it from wiggling. But yeah, it's very light headset, kind of like the Steelseries, and clamp force is really nice. If you've stayed up to this point, thank you so much. Let's go and get in the rig, and we'll go over the last bits. We'll do microphone tests. I'll talk about sound and tell you which one of them is my personal favourite. Now we're on to the microphone test. This is the microphone for the Arctis Nova Pro Wireless, and let's talk about sound. So the Nova Pro Wireless, they're very good on detail. It sort of leans toward slightly peaky highs. It's not too peaky, there's no sibilance. It does sound quite good. A little bit empty towards the bottom end. There is bass there. There's enough to warm the sound, but it's not overly excessive with sub bass. It does respond fairly well to changes in EQ, and if you're using the software, the Steelseries software is very powerful. There's a lot you can do with it, and has a parametric EQ as well. The only downside of the software is that it would sometimes bug out on me, and what I mean by that is sonar. Sometimes when you start the PC, sometimes sonar wouldn't come on, and nothing you could do would make it come on, and I would have to reinstall the software, and it would start up again. So I've had to do that a lot of times. And I've had two of these headsets, and both of them did the same thing. So it can be kind of buggy, the SteelSeries software, but there is a lot you can do with it. Now, if you're playing Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that, these are very good for directionality. The soundstage is relatively wide. It's not the widest, but it's easy to pinpoint where footsteps are coming from, and that's how these are tuned for for playing first-person shooters. For everything else, they're quite immersive. Battlefield particularly does sound very good. If you have a grenade land next to you and it goes off, it's not in your face, and by that I mean it's a little bit empty, and you can still even when there's a lot going on, you can still hear the little details, magazines reloading and the footsteps. So overall, I think these are extremely good for first-person shooters, whether you're on PC or console. If you're on console, you don't have access to the SteelSeries software, but you can still adjust everything on the EQ. You do still have a 10-band EQ in there, and you can even adjust it from the headset. If you hold down the volume wheel, you'll hear a bleep, and then you can start going through the settings on the base station, so you don't even have to reach to the station for the controls. So very well thought out headset. Onto the Turtle Beaches. So the microphone on these actually sounds quite good. It's quite sensitive. It's easy to understand. It is one of the better ones, especially compared to the SteelSeries microphones. And it's got a noise gate, which is actually good at rejecting noise. It gets rid of the aircon fairly well. Not quite as good as the Maxwell's in that regard, but still a pretty respectable mic. Now the sound of these are very impressive. They've got quite a warm sort of V-shaped kind of sound signature. They've got the widest soundstage out of all of these, and that comes in handy when you're playing atmospheric games. Playing Horizon on the PS5 is particularly good, and Star Wars Outlaws, that also sounds really nice as well. Shooters, you can hear where people magazines reloading. It's very easy to pinpoint where the sounds are coming from. So for that, I think the Turtle Beaches have probably got the slight advantage over the others with the wide soundstage. And for music, they're really good as well. They've got a lot of bass. It's impactful. It doesn't drown out any of the other frequencies. The highs are just right. There's not really any sibilance. Voices sound really good. Guitars sound great. The overall, a very good headset for a variety of things. I say they're one of the better all-rounder headsets. Onto the Maxwells. Now the microphone actually doesn't sound that bad. It's got a reasonable amount of warmth to it. It's relatively clear. Tiny bit nasally if you are listening close with the volume of it up. But overall not a bad mic. The thing this does absolutely better than anything else is it rejects noise so well that it just makes the air conditioner disappear. It'll blank out the Dyson vacuum. I don't know how they do it, but they've really done a good job with the noise rejection. Now onto sound. It's no surprise that these sound the best out of everything. The music is incredible. The way the bass hits, it's so fast and just clean. It hits like nothing I've heard in another headset. And this translates well over into gaming. Every game you listen to sounds just that cut above all the other headsets. I think the only thing that one of the other headsets does better is I think the Turtle Beaches have a wider soundstage. The soundstage isn't that wide on this, so for picking out noises from certain directions, I think the Turtle Beaches still have that slight edge over the others. But if you're not too worried about that, if you're after immersion or on story-driven games, and especially for listening to music, I don't think anything at the moment matches these. Finally, we're on to the Astro A50s. Now, the microphone in these sounds absolutely incredible. I said it in my review of them. I think this is the best headset microphone on the market. I think it beats out the Razer Black Shark V2 Pros, which was the one that I previously thought was the best, but Logitech really have knocked it out of the park with this microphone. As for the headset sound, this was a complete surprise to me. This sounds way better than I was expecting. The graphene drivers have been tuned so well. Their voices, instruments, the instrument separation, excellent. The highs done really well. There's no sibilance. It's really crisp and clean. Everything sounds so natural. And the bass has a really good, hard, impactful sound, and there's plenty of sub bass there, and it responds to EQ exceptionally well too. And I found no matter what game I played, it was everything sounded great. Soundstage wise, fairly wide soundstage, not quite as wide as the Turtle Beaches, but still excellent, absolutely excellent sound. It kind of ticks all the boxes really well, and it's not that far off how good the Maxwells sound. I'd say so far this is the second best sounding headset that I've tried. And I think we'll stick with the Astros for the rest of the video, because I do like this mic that much. On to the conclusion. I think out of all these, there are no bad choices. I think most people would be happy with any of them, depending on what type of games you play or how much you prioritise music over gaming. And for me, the one that I'm using the most now is the Astro A50s. Previously, it was the Maxwells. I've used them longer than any other headset. But these really surprised me, and it just each time I pick up a headset, I want to pick these up. They do everything so well. They're kind of a jack of all trades. And also, let's just talk for a minute about side tone, because side tone is something that's essential for me for when I'm streaming. So the side tone on the Steelseries is really good, nice and clean. There's no delay. Your voice sounds really natural. So one of the best side tones. The Turtle Beaches, they make your voice sound a little bit robotic and veiled. So although the side tone is sensitive enough and loud enough, it just doesn't sound that great. There's something off with the way it sounds. The Maxwells have a really good side tone. Again, really natural. The only thing, and it was nearly a deal breaker for me, is the hissing sound that you get when you've got the side tone up high. It's not a fault with the headset. It just, that's, you know, the way they were designed, it's just a flaw that happens. And it almost put me off them completely. And I just couldn't say no to that sound. So I actually learned to live with it. I didn't think I'd be able to, but I actually did. I was using it for many months. I don't know how much you'd find that annoying. But there's nothing like that with these. The side tone, I'd say, is as good as the Steelseries. Lovely and clean, lovely and natural. You don't have to max out the side tone to be able to hear yourself. And yeah, it's one of the best side tones I've heard in a microphone on a headset. So that's it. My number one choice for me is the Astros, and it's not one big thing that makes me pick these. It is just a collection of everything. They just work, and they've got the 2 channels for game and chat that always works. It's not like Steelseries where sonar sometimes disables itself and then you lose the 2 channels. Between the sound and the comfort, it ticks every box extremely well. And that's it. So these are now my daily driver until something better comes along, which I'm sure it will. We'll see what comes out over the rest of this year. I'm sure there'll be some new releases and other headsets to try out. Thank you very much for coming, and if you stayed to the end, big thumbs up. Thanks, guys. See ya.